All right, let's do some derivatives and see what sort of answers we come up with. 1 and 2 are very straightforward. All we're doing is the basic power rule. So we just need to bring the power down in front. In this case, 4 times 13 is 52. We now have x cubed because we decrease the exponent by 1. And then we have the minus in between, so make sure you keep that minus. 6 times 3 is 18. Now x squared. Derivative of x is 1, so we have a minus x, so it should be a minus 1. And a derivative of a constant is nothing, so it stays as it is. In number 2, same thing. Bring the power down in front. Negative 1/2 x to the, when we decrease negative 1/2 by 1, it's negative 3/2. The second term, 3/2, negative 3/2 I should say, times 4 gives us a negative 6x to the negative 5/2. And again, derivative of x is just 1. I'm going to undo that. Okay? So negative 1/2 x to negative 3/2 minus 6x to the negative 5/2 plus 1. Number 3, it is the exact same type of problem, just in this case, we don't exactly have things in the easiest form to deal with. So let's just rewrite it. 10 over x squared is the same thing as 10x to the negative 2. We change the exponent from positive to negative, we flip it over the fraction mark. Second term is going to be a 2x to the negative 1/2. Negative to bring it up top, negative when we bring it up top, and then the 1/2 for the square root. Then the last term is just going to be the same, plus 1/2 x to the 4th. Now we can take our derivative. Now we can say f prime of x is, and we're just doing power rules, very simple. We now have negative 20 x to the negative 3rd minus x to the negative 3/2 plus 2x cubed. Okay, number 4, we have a couple of options. Easiest way would be just to, first things first, rewrite the entire equation by just going and foiling like we always do. When you do that, you would get x to the 5th minus 2x to the 4th minus 11x cubed plus 12x squared. Then if you would take the derivative, power rule again, 5x to the 4th minus 8x cubed minus 33x squared plus 24x. Your other option would have been to do the product rule right from the beginning. You have two things multiplied by each other, so use the product rule. In that case, it would be f prime of x equals this quantity. First, times derivative of the second, which is 2x minus 4, plus the second is x squared minus 4x, times the derivative of the first, which is 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. And you would simplify from there, and now you do your foiling, and you would end up with this same exact answer. All right, moving forward. 5 and 7 are quotient rule, 6 and 8 are product rule. Let's start with number 5, quotient rule. So we're going to say low d high, so the low is 5x plus 2. D high, that is a negative 2, minus the high, 3x minus 2, or 3 minus 2x. D low, derivative of the bottom is just 5, all over low squared. You can just leave the bottom as a square there, that's fine. We do want to simplify the top though, so we're going to distribute. That gives us a negative 10x minus 4. When we distribute this, don't forget to distribute the negative here. So that's going to become a negative 15 and a positive 10x. Again, we'll leave it over 5x plus 2 squared. Things on the top will end up canceling out. The 10x's go away. I'm left with negative 19 on the top and 5x plus 2, the quantity squared, on the bottom. That's the answer that we want. Number 6, we have product rule. So over here, we're going to do first times derivative of the second. So there's your first, x squared. Derivative of the second is negative sine of x, plus the second is cosine x. Derivative of the first is 2x. Simplify, just negative x squared sine x plus 2x cosine of x. Very straightforward. 7, we got another quotient rule. This one's a little bit trickier. F prime of x is equal low d high 4 sine of x d high, that's x cubed up top, so we have a 3x squared, minus the top, high, d low, derivative on the bottom is 4 cosine x, all over low squared, 4 sine of x quantity squared. Simplifying up here, we should get 12x squared sine of x minus a 4x cubed cosine of x all over. If you left that as 4 sine of x quantity squared, that's fine. Or you can distribute the squared and make it 16 sine squared of x. Make sure you check your answer key. There was a mistake in the old answer key. This should be a minus, not a plus. Make sure we have that taken care of. If you left it like that, that's fine. If you simplified it on your answer key the way it is, that's fine as well. Number 8, f prime of x is going to equal, we have two terms here, term 1, term 2. We're just going to add or subtract them like we normally do, but this first one has a product rule we need to use. So, first times derivative of the second, which is cosine x, plus the second, which is sine of x, times derivative of the first, which is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. So that's just taking care of the first term. The second term here, we'll put it in blue, we also need to look at that derivative. Derivative of tangent is secant squared, so it's going to be minus 10 secant squared of x. Which went off my page. So minus 10 secant squared of x. From there, again, just simplifying, root x cosine x is the first term. This will become a 1/2 sine of x times, we also have that times x to the negative 1/2. If you have that flipped around, that's fine. And then again, minus secant, 10 secant squared of x. That's what we want to do for number 8. On the back, explain the product rule, explain the quotient rule. You can use the formulas. So f times g will go to fg prime plus f prime g, first times derivative of the second, plus second times derivative of the first. If you say it in words, that's fine. If you use the symbols like we have it here, that's fine as well. Quotient rule, f divided by g, that'll go to, we want to say low d high minus high d low all over low squared. If you say it that way, I'd be ecstatic. If you want to do it with the formulas, so it would be low times d high minus high times d low all over low squared. Either way, absolutely fine. Next step. Let y equal 2 sine x plus 3 cosine x. Show that y double prime plus y equals 0. All we need to do, we need to find the first derivative to be able to find the second derivative. First derivative is going to be 2 cosine of x. And then that'll be cosine's derivative is negative. So it's a negative 3 sine x. Take derivative again. Now we'll have a negative 2 sine of x. And this will be a negative 3 cosine of x. Well, these are the same two terms from y, only they're negative. So that means that y double prime is equal to the opposite of y. So because of that, y prime, or y double prime plus y is just negative y plus y, which is 0. That's pretty much all you need to do is show what the derivatives are. Number 12, the first derivative will be 28x to the 6th plus 4x squared plus 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. We got to do it a second time. Second derivative is 168x to the 5th plus 8x minus 1/4 x to the negative 3/2. That's the second derivative. We need to do one more. Triple prime, the third derivative. This becomes an 840 x to the 4th plus 8 plus 3/2 x to the negative 5/2. That's what you would want as your answer in the end, that big long thing. All right, number 13, we want to find the 14th derivative. Please do not go and write out all 14 derivatives from cosine of x. Remember, we said that the first derivative, we kind of did this little cycle that happens. It's negative sine of x for the first one. When we do the second one, we're going to get negative cosine x this time. when we do the third prime, we should get now back to positive sine x. And then when we do the fourth prime, we're going to get back to where we started, cosine x. That's where we started, so that's where the cycle is going to keep repeating. So think every fourth time. So the fourth one, the eighth one, and the 12th one, and then if you want to go another one, the 16th one will all be cosine of x. So if cosine is the 12th, that means that if we take the derivative for the 13th time, it would be back up to the top one. So that's the 13th. If we do it again, we'd have the 14th. So your answer is that f to the 14th derivative of x is just negative cosine of x. So that's how you do all these problems, and hopefully you'll be in good shape for us to be able to take this on Friday.